Good afternoon, Alexis. How are you?
Hello,
Hello, there we go. I
can
wasn't
you hear me?
sure. I
Okay.
wasn't sure whether you could hear me. You had the face that said technical issues, which is a face I'm familiar with because I often have them.
Yeah. Okay. No, no, I can hear you. I can see you. It's perfect. Nice to
Fantastic.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I have spent the morning. I got up nice and early and I watched your film, The Woman with Leopard Shoes. I would love
Thank
to be able to give its original title, but one of the words in the title I would probably not pronounce, so I will let you pronounce the original title so I don't look like an idiot making one of the words wrong.
Okay. In French, you say you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
The proper title, La Femme, or and a word after that I don't know how to pronounce, and then the last one is
right,
leopard.
perfect. I asked because I would like you to to pronounce it. So yes, it's La Femme aux Chaussures Léopard.
I will take your word for it. Yep, it's brilliant. What a
La
beautiful
Femme aux Chaussures
film!
Léopard. The woman with leopard shoes.
What a beautiful film that is as well. Beautiful,
Sorry.
a beautiful film. Very,
Thank you.
it's a good looking film. When Grimfest run their events, they send me a list of films that they have chosen. I don't watch trailers. I don't read up on them. I just press play, watch the film. So I have no idea what the films are about, and
It's okay.
that's the way I like to watch films is to
Yeah, you're
experience
right.
them.
You're
Um,
totally right.
the Woman with Leopard Shoes, beautiful film, very unique.
Thank
And
you.
now, originally, when I'm watching the film or any film, I'll start to build up questions in my head. Go, oh, I'll ask about this. I'll ask about that. The way you've put this film together has ruined many of my questions because the cinematography is stunning. So I'm thinking, right, I will ask Alexis about the cinematographer. Who is that person? The music is wonderful. So I'll have to ask Alexis about the music. You did all this. You're looking at the credits. You've done everything other than supply the food and the location, which is Danielle and Philippe. I'm guessing they're your parents.
I can. The lunch where yes, it's my parents' lunch. That was very good for the organization, and yes, it's the very classical way to shoot a no budget film. It's in the grandmother garage or in for our case the parents living room, but in fact yes, it was shot in my parents house, but the set was totally built. It's an actual set made for the film. It's not the living room of
Ah,
a real in a real house. All the walls are in woods, and everything was vegetables. Don't know, so you can cut the set
mhm.
and make all the travelings, all uh, all the movements we wanted. So yes, it's a classical film noir set. Yes.
So when I put the film on at the beginning, it starts in darkness, and I'm
Yes.
thinking, has this worked? Is
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah. Everyone.
has this worked? So it threw me. I think in a cinema you would just be, you would wait, but watching it at
Yes,
home on any sort of technology, you think, hang on a minute, is this working? Let me, and then the subtitles come up, and
I know.
it's still in darkness. I'm like, this is going to be something different. This film, and it really was. It's a
Yes,
stunning piece of work.
I like you're the first one who talked about the back screen at the beginning, and but yes, a lot of people said, "Oh, there is a technical problem because why?" But in fact, it's just a way to immerse the viewers, the
Mm.
spectator, into the film, because as maybe you noticed, sound is very important, because the off screen is very important for the story. So I wanted to start with sound, immerse the the spectators, the viewer, into the atmosphere by the sound, and after by the image. And the first, because you have the impression of open air scene with the wind, with the leaves, etc. We are in autumn, and after you see the first image, it's a close-up of a man in a hood. And by the way, it's one of the rare direct reference to a film. It's a direct reference to 3 films, in fact. The Spiral Staircase, Third Mac film, which I love. And after, in English, it's the Mario Bava, you know, Blood Lace, Midnight and Blood Lace. I know the title in French and Italian, but in English, you know this movie?
I don't think I've
Like
seen that one.
Mario
No,
Bava?
no.
And there is another one by Sergio Martino's called, it's a sort of called Torso. It's a sort of giallo slasher, and a very, very beautiful film. And each killer has this ode, this reference to that film. But after I avoid most of it was possible the direct references to other films. But sorry,
Oh, I think your picture's slightly frozen, but I was still hearing your audio come through there. But you either you've got the most paused face ever, or we may have one of these technical glitches that we did talk about earlier on. Maybe waiting for the internet to catch up. I think you may have disappeared, Alexis. Oh, you've gone. Hopefully you will return. Welcome back.
okay.
Yeah, your sort of face paused, and then you carried on talking, and then you disappeared. So that's one of those wonderful technology things that we were talking about earlier.
But we have, I don't know if it's the same thing. You are in the UK, but we are snowstorm. Sort of, there is snow everywhere here.
Oh wow!
So maybe it's because of the weather. I don't know.
Possibly. So we talked about the influences, you know, with the shot and the hood. It was very evident from early on in the film. I'm talking maybe the first 2 minutes that you were either striving to do a film noir or you are a huge fan of the film noir genre, because it looked, you know, I think. So I'm not going to spoil anything within the film, but if you removed like the mobile phone aspect of it and the sort of display of a couple of email addresses, you could sit somebody down to this film and say this was made in the 1950s or the 40s, and they would believe you, because it you know, with the edits that you chose, the music, which is stunning, the way that the film looks, the close-ups, it looked very, very film noirish.
Yes, it was. It's one of the great joy of this film, and maybe one of it was one of my. To be simple, my biggest fear was to make just a fan film or just an homage or pastiche, because of course it's you have a very beautiful pastiche and homage, and I think a part of this film is obviously an homage to the film noir, but it was more a way to accomplish the concept I chose and to make the story real than a direct homage. What can I say to that? The story is the story of a film noir, so it was for me logical to have the aspects, this aspect of the film noir, with some cliché like the femme fatale, the villain, the fancy party, etc., etc. The clues, and even the text messages are very film noir, because you have a lot of documents, a lot of things like the detective or the thief can find during a film noir. So it's just now it's with cell phone, but basically it's the same thing. The fact that the reason why I choose this form is because I think technology, sets, people change, but stories and desires and good things and bad things are obviously the same thing from time to time. It was yes, it's a story that you can make in the 40s, in the 80s, now, and I think in 30 years you will have the same sort of desire, pulsion, and this sort of story. So it was in the concept, in the DNA of the story. But yes, sorry.
I would sort of, you mentioned homage. I wouldn't look at the film and think, oh, he's made a homage to the film noir genre. I look at it and think he's made a film noir. So
Okay.
it's I don't think it looks like, oh,
Okay.
this guy likes film noir, so he's decided to make one that looks like it. I think you've made one now.
Yes,
so it's you've
it
nailed
was, it was exactly that, and in fact, some of the decisions are more pragmatical. For example, the black and white. I love black and white, and I think it was the best way to shoot the film because it was a film noir, of course, but also because the lights and shadows are very important during the film, because light represent danger because it's people and it's a party, and shadow is more secure. And in color, it would be maybe less obvious, less pragmatic, because you have plenty of elements with color. It's more real, so you have less you specialize less the spaces. Sorry for my English.
your English is far better than my French, as we've already established, so it's fine.
But I'm still sorry for that. And so yes, it was and in fact there is a lot of reference, more direct references to the Gothic film. One of my favorite film is The Haunted by Robert Wise. You know,
yes.
The Haunted. In French, it's La Maison du Diable. And what I love with The Haunted is that Wise can make an entire scene with only one doorbell or door and just sound and two people in the tiny room. So yes, it was one of the big references. And in fact, the starting point doesn't come from a film noir, but from a very famous classical. But now it's from Eyes Wide Shut. You know, at the beginning of Eyes Wide Shut, you have Cruz and Pollack and the girl in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I see the movie when I was a young teenager, and I was stunned by the way that you have this creepy scene of maybe rape in a very fancy and elegant party with everybody is in tuxedos. And it was this this question between what we see, what we can see, where are the bad person in a very society ambience. That was the starting point.
So wait, and when you've nailed that perfectly in your film, because effectively we have one actor played by your brother Paul, I believe.
Yes.
So he's pretty much the only face we see, but we have this whole world built up, and if you sort of break it down, we see Paul's face and lots of shoes.
Yes, a lot of shoes.
But you don't realize that's all you're seeing when you're watching the film, because your imagination builds everything you don't see in it.
Exactly, the off-screen is hugely important, and some people think that I'm a food fetishist, like a sort of the film noir now. I have the question sometimes, but yes, the off-screen was very important because of different things. Most of all, first of all, sorry, Paul was a lucky chance because he's my brother, but in fact, at the beginning, the role was for a woman. The thief has to be a woman. And so I began to search a girl for the role. And one day, my brother just say because I needed it for just a test. He makes this scene, and he was totally good and sorry, astonished. And it remind me sort of Alain Delon feeling, you know, like in The Samurai, for example, or the Cercle Rouge, so in English, the Red Circle. No, you know the Melville movie. Le Cercle Rouge and Le Samouraï were one of my favorite film, and I'm a huge fan of Melville, Jean-Pierre Melville. So he has this sort of Melville feeling. So it was perfect. It was perfect for the role, and he was hired.
He has, because the film is predominantly silent. You know, dialogue-wise, there's very little dialogue in it. He has a very cinematic face, which would help if he's not talking all the time. So his look is perfect.
It was very important for the movie to have a face that talk. And my brother has the chance. Is lucky because his face is talking. He has just to make some, and you can. I hope you can believe it. So the off screen was very important because my idea was to make the details and clothes as personality. I don't know if you have the same quote in English, but in France we say the clothes don't make the monk.
Yes, yeah. The clothes don't maketh the man, I think, is the English translation. Is that what? Yeah.
It's the monk in I don't know why the monk, but
why not? Why not? It can be a monk. Yeah.
So it's the same thing here. For example, the villain Boyer has this sort of Scandinavian shoes. It's a brand name Paraboot. And it's very famous in France because it's very it's a sort of cliche. In fact, it's my own shoes, but they are very aggressive, very big. And so the shoes were were aggressive, sort of villain. It's the same thing with the stiletto, the leopard stiletto of the woman with leopard shoes. She is the shoes are femme fatale, shoes fatale, sort of thing. So yes, it was and the principal thing is you can control all these aspects. When you have absolutely no budget, the film was made with approximately 3,000 euros. So it's absolutely nothing. The set cost, I think, 800 euros. So it's absolutely nothing, but you have to deal with this nothing, and so you have to control every aspect of the film and the cinematography. So, but it's maybe another question or another thing.
But it looks stunning. I think you could press, and I didn't do it because otherwise the film would be about 5,000 hours long if I did it. But I could have pressed pause at any time, and the picture I was seeing on screen would make an amazing photograph to sit on a wall.
You're talking.
I think so. Your background is from illustration, is that correct?
Yes, exactly. I'm an illustrator.
What made you jump from illustration to I'm going to make this film, which is this also correct? Is hopefully the first part of 3 films.
Yes, exactly. So I'm still an illustrator. I'm working on illustration this afternoon, and so it's my day in day work. And so sorry. So I'm an illustrator, and it was very helpful to build the building, to build the film. But at the origin, I always wanted to make a film. But as you know, films are very expensive. It's very hard to make it. I'm just watching a documentary right now called Clapboard Jungle. It's about
by Justin McConnell. Yep.
Yeah, Justin McConnell,
Yeah.
and I don't I had to finish it, but it's very interesting. But it's totally depressed, and it's so hard to and but so everything to say that it's very difficult to make a film. So at the beginning, I decided to make it as a comics. So I drawn comic books, which were not accepted by publishers. And I realized that it was just a way to avoid my frustration to not make an actual film, because I'm a movie girl, I'm a movie lover before to be an illustrator and yes, an illustrator. So one day I decided to jump to film, but I made it as an illustrator. So I wrote the script very quickly, but after that I made a storyboard, a very precise storyboard. I have sorry, I have no example here, but you have on this storyboard the light, the movement, of course, the frame, all the details of the scene, etc. So it was very important for me to have a strict frame to the project. But in fact, the concept was to not follow the storyboard. So in fact, the storyboard is just like a grid to see everything, where is everything. But in fact, when I was on the set, I transformed all the images I made on the storyboard. It was, I think, a good thing to have both a big control on the pre-production, but after a real fresh view on what you will see on the set. So after that, I made my storyboard. I searched for a cinematographer, for an editor, for a composer, etc. But it was very difficult, very long, and I wanted to make this film as a school. I'm total autodidact, and I'm an autodidact illustrator autodidact. I never have learned at school drawing. It's by myself, and it could be a bit pretentious to say that, but it's not the case. It's just hard work and hard work, and after that you build something. So sorry, I was searching in Paris for a cinematographer. There are a lot of editor, cinematographer, composer in Paris, but it was very long, a bit snobbish. You know, it's a little bit our default here to be a bit snobbish for,
and expensive.
And expensive.
And expensive. Yeah.
Yes, so I decided to make by myself the cinematography, the music, the montage, the post-production, everything. So, and it was a very passionate thing to do. So I'm very happy to not have had the money or the connections or people. And yes, it's the first film of the trilogy. The second one is finished. It will premiere in a few weeks in Brazil.
Wow!
So it's
congratulations on the second one. Good, good.
Thank you. And so it will be in color. It's a sort of fantastic thriller horror film. But I can't maybe can't talk about it for now. But it's you have a narrative link between the three films, but each films have his own story and in his own ambience. The link is that we talked about thriller. The first is a film noir. The second will be is now.
It is now.
So
You've got to change your way of going. This will be to. Oh yes,
yes.
I finished it. Now it is. Now you can do the third one. The third one will be. Yeah.
And the third one will be a paranoiac thriller. And I have all the structure. I have begun to wrote the script and the storyboard. So I hope I will be able to shoot it very very soon. But voilà, that's approximately the scheme.
So what is it like? You are an illustrator. You not were an illustrator. You are an illustrator. You've been a film fan. You've now made, well, two now, but one is released. The first film, Woman with Leopard Shoes, is out there. People across the world are seeing it. What's that feel like? That's got to be brilliant. I would have thought.
To be honest, it's a little bit frustrated because of the COVID. We had to stay at home for 2 years. And sadly, it was exactly when the film was screened in many festivals. So we have to go to, it was screened, virtually screened in Raindance, for example, in London, in Fright Fest in Glasgow. It was screened in the United States, in Newport Beach, for example, in Greece, etc. But I stayed at home, so I don't really know the reaction. To be frank, I don't know exactly the reaction, spectator reaction. You have internet, but you know how internet is. So it's most of the time it's very good reaction. I'm very very happy, but you don't know if it's real, etc. It's still virtual for me. So yes, it's a bit stressful because for this movie I still don't know what will be its future. Because I didn't meet everyone, etc. Because of this very weird ambience and because of the COVID. But Greenfest, for example, is a huge opportunity for us to screen the film, meet people, etc. So it's wonderful, and that's why I wanted to make the two other films very quickly. To have this energy and present all the, it's a bad word, all the package directly. But yes, I have I had very very good reaction, very good reviews. So yes, we are very very happy.
Well, you'll be getting a good one from me when I've typed it up. So this conversation will go out on the YouTube. So there'll be a video, I'll edit it, put it on video. The audio will be turned into an audio podcast, which I've been podcasting for about 10 years now. So it'll go out in two forms. And then I will be doing a typed review. Nearly said written, but who writes anymore? I'll be doing a typed review, which will go out probably within the next few days as well. So I do like to maximize any sort of time that filmmakers like yourself, filmmaker slash editor slash cinematographer slash illustrators, everything. You're a busy man. Now, with the second one, are you doing all these things again for the second one? Wow, again, you didn't learn from the first one. You're like, no, get some help.
It was worth it the second time because it was during the pandemic. So we made the film with only three people. Yes, it was just me and the two the leading role and my best friend Pauline Morel, who was the woman Leopard Shoes in the first one, and she has a sort of secret role and assistant, and she has a lot of idea in the second film. But yes, we were just three people, and
Wow.
I made exactly the same thing. So the music, the editing, etc. And I hope we will see that. But I learned a lot of things with this first movie, The Woman with Leopard Shoes. So I hope we'll see the improvement in this second film.
I see. I don't know if I could see any improvement in a second one because I didn't see anything in the first one. We're like, oof, maybe that should
Okay.
be, you know.
Good.
But that's because you just sucked me into the whole world, and I was just watching all the shoes and hoping the burglar gets out and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, no, I had an absolute blast. I loved the fact that the Grimfest selection team just
Yeah.
select all these different films, so I could watch
Yes.
maybe 15 of them, and they're all different, and they're all
Yeah.
really good. So
Very good. Yes, it's a wonderful festival, and we were not able to have a submission last year at Grimfest. So we are very sad, because very frustrated, because it was not the good time for it, because you know all the submission process, etc.
Yeah.
So we were able to make it this year, and we were more than happy to be at Grimfest, because yes, as you say, there are plenty of different sorts of film, from thriller to horror, to from gore to very arty vision, etc., etc. So it's it's a real fest. And they have the two events, so Easter and the regular festival in October. So yes, it's an incredible thing to watch and to be part of.
We may see your second one in October. Who knows?
Who knows?
Fingers crossed. But
exactly, we will see.
But it's a beautiful film. Everything I say is straight from the heart. I don't get paid to do these conversations. I do them because I love speaking to filmmakers, and I love watching movies, and it's great. And it's my passion, which it sounds like it's yours. But you illustrate and make movies, so you're more talented than I am.
But frankly, making at the beginning, I thought it was totally impossible to make a film. For me, it was just to try, and it was not a big deal in terms of money, because it was nearly nothing. But in fact, you can make it pretty easily. The only thing, but just my point of view, is to control all the aspects. If you can control all the aspects, so if you can make it very small, you can make actually a film. After, the quality of the film is not, I can't judge of my own film, and it's very it's a little fear, because you don't have you have a subjective view of your film. So it's very important. The second thing is to have people around you to say, no, it's a shitty part here, you have to make it differently. And my brother is very hard with that. So he was the first who said to me, yes, but frankly, here it's a retirement place. No, you have to make it more tense, etc. My parents, it's the same thing. My friends are the same. They're pretty hard when they have to be hard. So yes, I think the three elements that which are very important if you want to make a film. But once again, it's a first film, and we made it far from the industry, so well, it's very particular conditions, of course. I'm totally aware of it.
It looks fantastic. The music's great. It sounds fantastic. I love the cinematography. So good luck trying to improve it for the future films, because I will definitely be watching them. So yeah, do keep me updated. But and also wishing you the very best for the virtual Grimfest screening as well. I know a lot of people, obviously me as, press quote, gets to watch it a little bit early, but when it shows, I'm sure people will love it, and the reviews, they better be good or I'll go after them. But you know, you've done fantastic, and I wish you the very best with all the other things that you work on as well.
Thank you very much, and it was a great pleasure to talk with you. And people like you and interview like that are very important for young and starting director like me, because we can talk about it. We can have a fresh view from someone from the inside. So it's very yes, it was a very pleasant moment with you.
And you'd mentioned you were watching Clapboard Jungle. I remember when I watched that, which was probably about a year ago, I messaged Justin and I'm like, I think I'd also put it in my review saying I find it quite amusing that you've made a documentary about the struggle to make a film, but this documentary is a fantastic film. So you've kind of, it's massive. Is it Blu-ray or is it digital you're watching it on?
It's on the platform called Shadows. I think it's a French streaming specialized in horror and fantastic and thriller film. It's like Shudder, Shudder. It's
Shudder. I've got.
I think it's Shudder, but it's a French Shudder, because we don't have Shudder in France. So it's Shadows. And yes, there are a lot of very beautiful documentaries, like Quiet Not Hollywood on the the Australian horror film from the. I love the Australian horror films, and so yes, you have a lot of documentaries, and there was Clapboard Jungle on the lineup. So, but it's very stressful documentary.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. But I find things like Clapboard Jungle very inspirational, because it's not everybody struggles making a film. Well, everybody struggles making a film. Wouldn't just be me. And also conversations like this. You've gone from turning it into graphics to then frustrating with that to then make a movie. You've now filmed your second one. So this sort of conversation is hugely inspirational as well. Obviously your part, not so much mine. I just fire questions at you and you give brilliant answers. So,
Okay.
That works.
Yes, and this time Justin McConnell, that's the director. Yes, it's a very touching guy. So because he's very courageous, because you see when he looks like. Sorry, because I don't have but as a loser, because he can't go with all the idea, and sometimes he's like a real hero because he has balls to go everywhere to sell the idea, sell the film. So yes, it's like a real adventure, and it's funny because most of the film is like an horror film. This man is like a man running from the monsters, so doubt and bad things, but I haven't finished it because I don't to make it. But I hope it will be a good end for him.
I am not going to spoil it. You'll have to find out for yourself. But no, thank you very much, Alexis, for taking the time out to speak to me. I will send you the link to this when it's up, so you can do whatever you wish with it. But you enjoy the rest of your day, and keep up the wonderful work. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.